Alright, simple deck builder tutorial. I'm going to try and go through this fast because my previous takes were pretty long. This is the simple deck builder for the game Monster Club. You can find it on my itch.io page. My name is Demi-Wrath, and let's go. Alright, so first you'll boot in here. I'm just going to change the background color off the bat here. Let's go with like crimson. I like that. So that's in the setting bar up here. Now, starting off, you'll see these three tabs at the top. These will just switch to what you want on that side. For example, if I wanted my library up here, I'd select library. If I wanted my deck over here, I'd select deck. And you can also swap them. So if I wanted my deck over here, I can do that. If I wanted my library over here, I can do that. Now, this is the library. This is where you find all your cards. For example, if I wanted to find a card, I could sift through here. La-di-da-di-da. This is taking way too long. I'm only on page 27 out of 34. Of course, you could zoom out to make it only 9 pages, but it still would be a lot to sift through. So that's where filters come in. If I wanted only the army cards, for example, I could go army. There we go, only the army cards. And that's name matches army. All of these have names matching army. Pretty self-explanatory there. For example, if I wanted to find kind matches monster, here's all the monster cards. If I wanted the stack to not match 0, here's all the monsters with slots. Not matches 1, here's all the monsters with slots of 2 or more. And not matches basically filters things out, while matches only filters those things. Here's all the things. Index is the identifier, name. Kind, this is either monster or power. Type, rock, paper, or scissors. Power, this is like 600 power. Or if it was, let me go here and remove these. Plus 600 is also its power. So if I wanted to just find that power cards, I could say plus 600. Oh, that's not matches. Let me go to matches. There we go. Here's all the score increasers because they all have plus power matching plus. If I wanted to remove this filter and go back, I can just click this filter. And that'll remove whatever filter you click. So if I have like power matches plus, power does not match 1, power does not match 5. Okay, well, let's take these two out, but I still want this one. So I just click those two. To add things to your deck, you click on something, it'll show it's loaded because it'll be shaking, and you can just click where you want it to go. That's pretty easy. And, well, once you're here, you can also shift things around by clicking 2 deck slots to swap them. You can also select deck slot and go to library, but I feel that doesn't make as much sense as going to library and then selecting the deck slot. 6 out of 13, this is the page count. I already went over that. Filters, this filters everything a card has on it. So for example, well, maybe not art because there's no image recognition, but if you wanted to look at quote, you could go quote. You could say, well, let's look at the which quotes. That's not quote. Very important that I make it match that. Here's everything with quote in its with which in its quote. All right, back to this. The one thing I haven't explained yet is flags, but we will get there. Moving on to the deck. Oh, wait. Let me hop back here for a sec. Most recent stats versus original stats. If you click original stats, you'll see some of these had more slots to begin with. For example, Witch of Night has 5 slots. So if we wanted to go to stack, matches 5, blam. Here's all the things that had 5 slots. In the old set, in the original stats, before the rebalance. If I went back to most recent, you'd see there's nothing. Because, well, 5 slots is a lot in the new. If I went to 6, only Dark Paradox does. If I went to original stats, only Easy Gaga does. So, your filters will shift based on which version of the game you're using, and also these will change automatically. So, for example, this has 0 slots. If I go here, that's 1 slot. If I wanted something specific, this says each player selects a monster on the board, swap them, stack power cards, original, whatever. Go to original stats, swap a monster from one of your opponents. Different effects for different versions. Keep that in mind. This is tournament banned, so most people will only use this. copying over to your deck. So that's just clicking the deck here, or it'll probably already be here because that's the default. Again, you can move things here. If you wanted to undo something, you click one of these arrows and it undoes what you just did. So I can go all the way back to the beginning, or I want it back so I can redo by clicking the forward button. This can also be done with the Y key instead of having to click those buttons. There we go. Y, Z, etc. Say I wanted to clear this to start working on a new deck, clear. And this works for any size deck. It'll take the deck size and just clear it. And deck size is up here, so you can go up to 100 cards. For example, I typed in 1,000, but it went back down to 100. Or as few as 1 card. If I say 0 or -5, it goes back to 1. But one thing to note is when you increase size, it'll basically clear everything. So if you went back to 24 and then went back to 25, it wouldn't be there anymore. So use undo keys. Anyways, on your sidebar, you'll see all your saved decks. If you wanted to save a deck, for example, let's save a single Gonzo here. We'll call this deck Gonzo. Down here in the little text box, and we'll click Save to Sidebar. Oops. It appears it didn't save like I wanted it to. There we go. Gonzo. Oh, I see what's happening. It is recognizing the Z card. That is a bug I'll have to fix later. Bear with me. Gonzo. Let's do Gonzo like that. Save to Sidebar. I will fix that bug before this video goes out, or at least in a short amount of time after this video goes out. Anyways, Gonzo there, and then you can find this deck again here. This is useful especially because you can reload the page. Say you close the tab and come back to it later, it's still saved here. There's my one little Gonzo guy. Say you wanted to save this deck and share it with a friend without having to lug your computer over to your friend's house. You can take this deck code, copy it, send it to your friend. For example, if I took this deck code and then cleared the deck, I could go here and, well, I could type whatever the deck code was, but easier to just paste it in and press load from code. There it is. All right. If you have too many decks on your sidebar, you can also destroy them by clicking this little trash button. Oh, and if you have too many decks, you'll have this little scroll bar option to see all your decks. That's just so you can have as many decks as you want. Anyways, click this trash button to get rid of some decks. Be careful though, because there is no confirmation screen. It will just delete it. Load from code, pretty obvious. Save to sidebar, we already went over this. Let's go over right clicking now. Right clicking will bring up this menu. It's a bit jarring at first, but I'll break it down. For example, if we had this and we're, say, we want to see what we had in this deck, okay, let's take this monster, we'll copy it using the copy, we'll undo back to this blank deck, then we'll paste. And you can do that with all these cards here. That's a big usefulness of the copy card. You can copy, go back to previous deck, and paste. Now, there are some hotkeys for this. So, for example, Z and Y, pretty obvious. So you can go here, copy Z, and then paste. But pasting takes a long time. So you can also, for example, if you want a lot of dark card soldiers, it would be pretty tedious to go right click, control, paste, right click, drag it over, paste. Instead, you can just double right click. Double right click will execute your previously executed action. So basically, if you copied, copy is the only exception. If you copied, right click will paste. But for everything else, if I click clear card, double right clicking will repeat that action. All right, what if I wanted to save these cards for consideration later? You can use tags. For example, let me go to here. This is a deck that I used in a previous tournament. Let's say I wanted to cut this down to 25 cards, but I want to keep these cards in consideration. Give these all a card tag of red, double right click to do that action again instead of having to drag every single time. And now when I hover over this, in the little text box at the bottom, it says tags red, or this has tags of nothing. So I can go back here, scroll down to flags. Weird. Different naming discrepancy. Maybe I'll have to fix that. Red. There we go. Here's all the things. And that's everything. So if I wanted to cut this down, 25 cards, and then maybe I start putting these back in. Whatever. Undo. If I want to remove a tag, just click the tag again and it'll remove it. So if I redo this, it's gone now. Right clicking allows you to do all these different things. Double right clicking allows you to paste. Let's go over stats now. This is useful for analyzing. Say if I wanted to go to kind and say matches power, or just po. You could do power, but it's really not necessary because it's going to do the same thing. Monster, and then it'll show you the ratio. For example, this one has 9 monsters and 16 powers. Sorry, some pretty interesting stuff here. If I wanted to look at this though, 3 monsters. Wow, that is insane. Anyways, you can have as many stats as you want listed. I would keep in mind though, it tends to overflow after you get to a certain amount. So just delete them by clicking on it. This is the same with these. So if you put too many of these, it overflows. I'll need to add a scroll bar eventually, but we'll see. Yep, just go here. You can swap things around. I think I've covered pretty much everything. Oh, settings. Obviously, background color, show instructions. This is everything I covered. Library filters, library controls, zoom, page numbers, set change, copy, paste, whatever. Deck size, pressing save, deck codes. Yeah, I think that's everything. Show changelog shows the most recent changelog. For example, in this most recent update, 3.1, I added a scroll bar here to let you have a lot of decks. And then down here, delete save data. I'm going to keep my mouse off this because there's, again, no confirmation screen. This will delete everything here. It'll reset your background color. It'll reset this thing. And again, delete all your save data. So I'll be very careful about this button. All right, here's my email if you want to contact me for bugs and support. I would actually suggest you use my Discord instead because I will reply sooner and quicker because I rarely check this, if at all. So use my Discord instead if you need to contact me for bugs and support. And that's the deck builder. Wow, 13 minutes. That's a lot better than last time. If you have any questions, you can also leave them in the comment. This video will also serve as like part 0, just in case I want to do any deck building tutorials where I show you how to make a good deck, strategies and whatnot. So this will kind of serve as the part 0 for that. If you're interested in that kind of content, subscribe, ring the bell so you'll be notified when that comes out, and let me know in the comments that you want that. Without further ado, I think that's it. This will be on the final exam, so memorize it. All right, see you in the next video.